Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 38, Clutching Threes and Clutching Knees. My name is Harry.
And my name is Ben. And I like this title, to be honest. I think it sums up pretty well this week. We've had so many clutch moments. We've had so many sad moments with injuries. Let's get into it.
Do you know what's going on? Half the league's injured.
Yep. The injury list is looking pretty stacked right now. More stacked than a peak Golden State Warriors roster, which is sad news, to be honest. Because
you mean the Golden State Pretenders?
Oh yeah, that's right. We got to make that name stick. Apparently,
it's the Golden. No, but it's not even. We got to make it stick. They're still in 7th, and they're still a 50-50 team.
True.
They're the Pretenders until they can actually put something decent together.
Until they can prove themselves. I agree with that. Thankfully, they're not doing too badly in terms of injuries. But the rest of the league.
Steph just came back.
I guess
if we did this last week, we would have been talking about how Steph was injured.
That'd be a different story then. Yeah. But no, the rest of the league, there are some big names out at the moment. I think we should probably touch on how this is impacting seasons. Different lengths of injuries, of course. So there's still time for players to come back. But
an NBA has always been about it's a marathon, not a sprint.
100%.
And it's always been about, at the end of the day, you'll win if you can keep. Like whoever, it's a competition really to see who can keep their team the most healthy.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, I think we've seen a lot of teams that have honestly, on paper, had the roster, but they've had a big, crucial injury, some main player out, and not lived up to their potential.
Injuries.
Or multiple, exactly.
And it's sort of like getting through the regular season and then trying to get through the playoffs.
Yep.
Because playoffs is almost doubly as grueling. Like you've got this long slog with the regular season, and then playoffs are like this intense, depending on how quickly you win your games, be an intense slog with not much you don't get a lot of time in between games in playoffs, even if you're successful and win. Like you if you can finish off your opponent early, you get a couple of days, but if you don't, if both of you go into a 5 to 7 day series, you pretty much get a day or two off and then you're back at it.
Yeah. I think it's kind of crazy to think about, because if you end up doing mostly 7-game series, that's about a quarter of a season worth of games. If you're going through and having deep, long series all the way through, and then the turnaround between the next season isn't that long either. So there's honestly, those finals teams don't have as much time to recover and get back next season. So
obviously the NBA is worth billions.
Yeah,
there's a reason why the NBA has an acronym of never broke again.
Accurate.
Like you make it to the NBA and you make it, but obviously there's a lot of revenue streams from games. Like they're never going to reduce the 82 games in a season. Yep. They've already sort of divided up who gets how many games, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. And just historically as well, I think the precedent for 82 game seasons has been around so long. I think that's just how the format of the league is. I don't think they would really, the players would cop heaps from the veterans if they were like, we did it, why aren't you doing it?
But but at the moment, right, so there's a ceiling. Well, it's not a ceiling, but people are getting so good and so athletic. It's putting would you say that now the wear and tear that some of that happens to some of these guys is more or less than say 20 years ago? That's
a great question, actually. Oh, okay. I think yes, I agree. The athleticism is just in another level. Skill level is so much higher. No offense to historical players.
Yes, they're shooting three. We're shooting more than ever. But I would argue that the speed and it's not necessarily, we may not be as physical. I think the physicality has dropped off, but then that's been replaced with speed.
I mean, the game's faster than it's ever been. I'd agree with that. It's up-tempo, faster players than we've ever seen. But I would say physicality-wise, that's the only thing that's different. I think just how intense, in terms of the foul calls and things like that, were just so different eras ago. So I think they probably took more of a bruising. But in terms of the way the game's played as a whole, I'd agree. It's more intense and upbeat now.
I think personally, you're welcome to disagree with me. I'll just edit you out. No, I would say that playing at a higher tempo for more time is going to wear your body out faster than playing at a slower tempo and taking the occasional big hit.
I would agree with that in the sense that so many injuries we've seen recently have been just like people slipping over, people hitting into each other. Like those type of injuries, totally agree. I think it's more like the impact type stuff, like fouling and things like that, getting injured. That is less than it used to be. But yeah, in terms of the pace of the game, yeah,
I would maintain that pace would wear out your body more than the hits. Obviously, like we're getting a lot of freak accidents where like people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
But like it's like you've got Capella with a calf strain. Okay, I can't really mention Durant. His was a sort of a freak accident.
Yeah.
Gallinari is got a knee problem. Okay, Brogdon's got personal issues. Torn ligament. Hayward with a hamstring issue. Kelly Oubre with a torn ligament. Lonzo Ball tore a ligament. We've got DeMar with a quad. Like that's the thing, right? These aren't like. These are all like torn ligaments. Like these aren't stuff that's coming from taking a bad hit.
Yeah, it's more just like the fatigue from the season being that up pace and that up tempo.
It only takes running a little bit too hard for 1 second to tear something, and that's how fast they're playing. And I would maintain. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna keep saying it. I think that the pace they play at is really, really not dangerous, but they're so tired and they put so much pressure on their bodies. They're by playing fast, they're wrecking themselves.
The only counter argument I'll quickly pop in is that the medicine and technology we have these days is so much better. So I think the rehab and keeping people in a better shape, I guess, that is one positive now.
But can everyone afford to put $1 million plus a year into like LeBron does?
I mean, I think most teams have pretty much all their players on very, very solid regimes, I think. So I think the technology is there.
Some clubs better than others.
I mean, yes, that's true. There's a difference between teams. But the other difference, too, is that I think as soon as there's something questionable, the players are pulled out, they're rested, they're rehabbed, whatever they need, and then they're back in. Back in the day, you had a bit of an injury. They're like, you'll be fine. Just play through it. Put a bit of horse tranquilizer in your knee. You'll be fine.
Gosh.
Like, I think the standards are different too. But no, I would agree that, the pace of the game, I think, just makes everything more injury prone. How quick and how much elevation they're getting. People landing badly. So.
And I think the key thing here is that they get no rest. How do we have a product that's worth billions of dollars? You have these stars, right? These major stars that are worth tens of millions, hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
People want to see these people play.
Yeah.
How do we still have back-to-back games?
This is a bit I totally agree with, because we've mentioned they're not going to change the length of the season in terms of games, but why can't they spread it out or make the logistics better so there's less like road trips, things like that? Like there should be a way that they can work it out logistically to have more rest time.
Surely.
Simple as that.
Or less, like, you could see teams these days, it's becoming a very standard practice that if they've got anyone that has injury concerns, or even like some of their top players, like they're just, if there's a back-to-back, they just straight up go, he's not playing the second game.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah. And I think that says so much. Like if they're not willing to risk their players on back-to-backs, that shows how much of an injury risk there is with back-to-backs.
But how much of there's no recovery time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if the teams are resting players, that already should be a big enough sign. It's like, okay, we should space these games out better so that we can actually see these stars, what people are paying to see. So
exactly. Like it's one of those things where like if you look at the list of people that are out, like you've got Jokic, you've got half of the Suns, you've got all these people that are money draws. Like people tune in to see these people.
Yeah.
Why isn't the NBA bending over backwards to try and give these professional athletes who already spend? And yes, look, being in the NBA is, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. They get paid millions to play ball, and they do everything possible that they possibly can to look after their body. I hope. I'm praying and I hope, because if I was y'all, my body's a temple. But why isn't the NBA as an organization focusing more on what they can do as an organization to help? At the end of the day, they have a product. The product is basketball.
Yeah.
And there are certain people that are far more marketable than other people.
I mean, no clearer example than we literally just had the NBA record for largest attendance broken with San Antonio versus the Warriors. Look, I love the Spurs, but no offense, it was the Warriors who drew that crowd. Let's be honest. They want to see
stadium.
They want to see the stars, Off the top of my head, I think it was 86,323.
Damn.
I think that was. This is just off the top of my head.
I think they went to like one of those big NFL stadiums because like it was really funny. I saw a screenshot like the things in the middle, and then there's like a little huddle of people around, and like you see all these like the stadium was huge.
But yeah, I think just the popularity now, it's bigger than it's ever been. People want to see the stars in particular, and they're not going to see them because they're having to rest.
You see online when you see the bummer of like, and I guess, and the other thing is that the teams are a little dodgy as well. They don't always update their medical lists until like last minute, and then because people are disappointed, like you see online, I see comments where people are like, "Oh, it really sucks that they announced so and so not being there last minute because that's who I really wanted to see."
Especially people who are like traveling. Like you've got people going internationally, flying into the US to see their favorite player, and imagine the heartbreak of going there and they're not even playing.
Yeah,
I think it's just such a letdown. So they need to do something about it to make the players.
And injuries are part of the sport, but if there was something you could do to reduce it, like here, we're not saying that you can completely get rid of injuries.
No,
people always, these guys are playing way too hard for way too long. These are peak athletes, but the strain of playing basketball is a rough one.
Yeah.
Did you see the photo of LeBron's feet?
Oh, I did, and it was so bad.
I'm not really into feet. But I never really stopped to think about what playing so much basketball would do to you. And honestly, I was rather shocked at how mangled LeBron's feet were.
I mean, especially because this guy has like the best medical treatment of the whole NBA, and his feet look like that. I'm like, oh man, what must some other players look like?
He looks like Gollum's feet or something from Lord of the like, my precious, and like pulls out his feet. Like
I think it's just the shoes or something, like just cramming your toes into the shoes all the time.
I don't know,
man. It
must
weird.
Just be like the impact or like I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just,
I think it's a bit like ballet dancers where their feet get kind of compressed. I feel like it must be
they're doing it so much.
Yeah, you pretty much live in them almost.
They play basketball every day for hours on end. Yeah. And then I was really interested to see that it's a pretty common thing for NBA players to have absolutely mangled feet.
Yeah,
and it's something I never thought to think about until I saw that photo, and I was like, my God.
We can't unsee it.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It was just a bit odd. Yeah. I wasn't expecting to see it. It's not something I had really put two and two together.
Yeah. Enough about feet.
But Ben, it's your favourite. Join the Hoopinions OnlyFans for saucy feet. I can guarantee you. We can advertise ourselves. I can guarantee you. Harry's we can go join the Hoopinions OnlyFans. My feet look better than LeBron's.
Instead of Harry's hot sauce, we can have Harry's hot soles. Because you'll put your feet on that. No.
Please don't talk to me about my feet.
Let's move from feet to knees, because I just really want to quickly, while we're on the topic of injuries, touch on a couple. We're not going to go through the whole list, but some crucial injuries, I think.
Let's go through the whole list.
Every single one.
All of them. In depth.
I think the ones I want to touch on, and there are some bigger ones, but we have to change the topic, man. we gotta bleep some of this in post. A couple big injuries. Obviously, KD's out for a month. Nets are still playing pretty well, so they're fine for now. But one I want to touch on is Tyrese Halliburton, who was literally just injured today. I think it was a game against he was at Wizards, I think, I can't remember. But yeah, went down with a knee injury. Just landed badly, and his shoe came off and everything. It was not really anyone's fault. It was against the Clippers, I think, because whoever.
Wow.
Elbow.
He's done his elbow and his knee.
Ooh,
out at least 2 weeks.
That's not good. So anyway, Hartenstein went up for the defense. He tried to curve around him. Anyway, looked. It was against the Knicks.
Did he just slip?
Hartenstein's the Knicks. Yeah, it kind of just landed badly, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Halliburton. So this year's kind of been his breakout season, because he's been leading the whole league in assists. I feel like we don't talk about some of these guys who are absolutely balling, and on smaller teams.
Everyone bowls.
Everyone does,
you have to pick the people that bowl slightly better than the insanely high skill level that the NBA has.
But I said this guy's leading the league in assists.
Well, he was.
He's averaging 20 and 10, and 4 rebounds. As well. He still is currently.
No, he's well.
He's out. He's out with evaluation. They're going to see, but he's at least multiple weeks. But yeah, I mean, look, the Pacers, I think we've been sleeping on a bit. Probably, to be fair, they're outperforming the expectations, but they are sitting in 7th. They are in playoff contention currently.
Oh yeah, that does exceed my expectations.
Yeah, so I mean, this is why we got to at least shout out some of these other teams. I mean, look, and in the league, they're currently 5th. I think they're one of the better teams at just moving the ball.
How? These guys are supposed to be tanking.
Well, I mean,
the Indiana Pacers are like the Utah Jazz, right?
Yeah, I can
Every
draw a
time they're like,
comparison.
oh yeah, we're gonna blow it up, and then they get like one like slightly good piece back that does better with like being the main person on the team instead of having to share, and then they go, oh, you know what? Maybe we found a diamond in the rough, and we just keep going, and it's like you're just gonna go get knocked out first round every single time.
I mean, that. Look, okay, I think they're making the playoffs. Are they going to get knocked out first round? Probably.
Am I wrong?
But
Am I wrong?
No, but considering they're rebuilding, I think they're doing pretty well. I
But
think
they're
they've
not
been-
rebuilding. They need to go lower. This isn't rebuilding. This is like going half in and then going like, oh yeah, let's just try and make it work. And it's like, you didn't get any assets.
Yeah.
You need to tank. You need to be, if they were serious about getting good, they go to Tyrese Halliburton and go, look, you're a stud, right? You're a bona fide stud. We have you for 3 more years, right? We're going to tank for the first year and then see who we get in the draft. If we get someone really, like, if we get first, we're ready. We've got a 3-year window, right? Right?
Yeah.
If they don't get someone super good in the first year, they tank the second year and then they all or nothing the third year. Or they lie to him and go like, yeah, we're going to rebuild. Then they flip him later for assets, right? But you can't go half in.
Yeah.
This isn't going to get like, sure, it feels a little bit better. It's like, oh yeah, we thought we were going to be last, but now we're like, we're in 7th. That's pretty good. Wow, we're actually doing really, like, for what we thought we were going to be. But where are they really going to be? Where is it going to get them? Nowhere.
Look, I agree. I think it's a bit of a, I guess we call it kind of the Jazz formula where they just keep being mid, keep being medium.
If they're happy of being a mid team, then all to them. But they blew it up and they got some stuff back, and I would be committing hard to getting some good draft picks. What is finishing 7th going to get them?
Yeah. I mean, look, not everyone can win a championship every year.
No.
Like, you still have to try. Not everyone can tank, because I think the league really should be discouraging tanking. It's sad that that kind of, like, is the way to go. Like, that still works. I think maybe the closest to kind of rebuilding while being mid, like, I don't even know, like, most teams have had to tank to get like a Luka or get a big piece.
How are you going to rebuild effectively if you're most likely going to get like a middle of the round first round pick?
I think the best example I can think of is the Pelicans, because they did get a few high picks. I mean, notably Zion, right? But Zion's really the only like star. They've got a few young guys who are playing really well. But that's what I'm saying. They didn't draft him. Like, they didn't take.
No, they traded.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, they have kind of rebuilt with pieces to kind of get their team back there. They haven't just tanked entirely for picks, like a Thunder example.
Yeah, well, I think they tanked a little bit once AD left, and then once they got Zion, they had a bazillion. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they did kind of tank.
They kind of got lucky that the pick turned into Zion. Like,
yeah,
they did not deserve that number 1 overall, but they got it somehow because they tanked. They tanked the year that they traded AD. They traded AD.
Yeah,
and then I'm pretty sure, didn't they get the Lakers first round pick? I don't think it was their pick that got put into first, or they had no. It was either that or they had a really low % chance, but the numbers they got super lucky. And
they still did kind of tank. So look, yeah, I guess it kind of is the formula to tank entirely. But my point being that Halliburton, I think, was a crucial part for this team, regardless of this team in general, right? This guy's having a breakout year. I think any team, if they do want to blow it up and entirely rebuild and move him somewhere, any team could use him. So I think it's really sad. He's had a great season so far. I want to see more from him. That's the point I was making.
Yeah,
sad that he's injured. I think that's underrated.
Pacers. I want to crush your hopes and dreams.
We got to talk about some of the small teams. Not every team can win it. We got to at least hype up teams when they're doing semi-okay.
Look, they're doing but that's the thing. It's like I could talk about Minnesota Timberwolves are doing semi-okay, and they're in 8th.
Yeah, let's talk about the Timberwolves. Let's talk about them. We've got some news on the Timberwolves. I mean, yes, but it's interesting to talk about because they tried the Gobert experiment. It's not going great. But to be fair, they're missing Cat. Cat's
out for ages.
Yeah.
I will still fight anyone that says that Gobert is the reason why this team sucks.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he is the reason, but
everyone seems to like to blame the trade. I still think the trade was great.
Yeah, I think the trade was all right.
They gave away a lot, but for a small market team like Minnesota, you're going to really struggle to find people that want to go to Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll admit, yes, they overpaid for Gobert. It does sound like another team was competing with them, and that is why
so
I
they
was
kind
still
of had to outbid them.
I will still maintain that I think there was a small bidding war going on, and unfortunately Minnesota, well, not unfortunately, but they took it the next step and they got him.
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell went out and said the other day, you either take advantage of me and my ability or fudged up the opportunity with me. It's as simple as that. When asked about potentially getting traded. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, I agree. The trade wasn't the worst. I don't think it's the reason. I think they kind of have enough big pieces. They're like, all right, we have to try and win now. So they made the last few moves, whatever. I wouldn't be mad with D'Angelo being moved, even if they get someone back.
He's getting paid like $100 million.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a pretty large contract. He's had some great individual games, but his consistency isn't there. Even in previous seasons, he's been really solid at times and then really not solid at other
always
times.
been
So,
D'Angelo though.
yeah. I mean, look, I still think a big part of them not doing as well as they had is because Cat's been off for a while. He's still
absolutely.
weeks,
100%.
months off. So I think that would be a different story. But just, yeah, I think, honestly, D'Angelo, even as the player he is, paired next to like Anthony Edwards, who's just a crazy scorer too, like, you need maybe more versatility defensively than what D'Lo brings. So I think he'll be great on another team, but if they can get another piece that's even a bit more defensive-minded, honestly, defensive guard with Gobert, one of the best defensive teams in the league.
You want a Rubio, a distributor. You
Yeah,
want someone that's
facilitator,
he isn't gonna look for his shot first. He's gonna look for Anthony Edwards and everyone else first.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think if they can get, I don't know what a good example is, but yeah, Rubio, Caruso, kind of like defensive first guard, like if they could get someone like that, honestly, I think that'd fit better. And even though they've got less firepower overall, with Edwards just cooking like he is, turning into a star, I think they'll be fine. I think they just need more solid team.
Look, and I still maintain, I really do like Rudy Gobert as a player. Obviously, he has some weaknesses, but a lot of the bigs do. You don't have a lot of perfect bigs.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd almost say that Cat wanting to shoot threes all the time is one of his weaknesses. He really needs... I think he needs to vary his offense up a bit more. I think he could be a lot more dangerous down low, but he's always looking to shoot.
Yeah,
which is a good skill to have, but I think he needs to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best three-point shooting bigs in a very long time. He's up there with some of the best of them, but yeah, he could definitely dominate more inside, which he's not doing enough. At least his offensive focus is kind of balanced well with Gobert's defensive focus. So
and that's the thing. Like, people go, "Oh, you can't play him in certain situations." And it's like, yeah, but like it's the same with everyone. Like, teams are always looking to counter each other. Yeah. And look, Gobert doesn't do well from the perimeter, but you can't deny that if it's near the rim, like, he does throw people off their game. Yes, occasionally people dunk through him and all that. Like, he's not...
some nice highlights.
There's always a couple of highlights of him getting dunked through. But the other thing is, right, I see a lot of people run out of the way of those sort of things.
Yeah.
At least, look, Gobert everyone might be like, oh, he just got he just got destroyed. But at least he tried to defend it.
He's going for it. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta throw props. Like, when someone's like running down the highway, like that they're not going to stop no matter what. And to put yourself in harm's way, at least give him props.
Yeah, you see a lot of players make quote business decisions to move out of the way. So at least he's going for it.
And
so,
I think look, Rudy is a huge deterrent for trying to lay it up if he's guarding the rim.
Even if he's not getting blocks, just his presence.
He's a great rim protector. Yeah. Yes, he is a little bit. Yeah, again, he's over. What? He's over 7 foot, surely.
Oh yeah, he's like 7'2", 7'3".
He's got one of those funny 7 foot people walks where like he can't. Yeah, obviously he's gonna get beat on the dribble, but if he's already in front of the rim, he's gonna throw people off.
Yeah.
So, Timberwolves, I want to see better. I think. I still maintain. I think they can do better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, missing Cat is not going to help. And I don't know if maybe they need a better, like, maybe it's a coaching thing. Because on paper, I feel like, especially with how the West is right now, part of it's, part of it's coaching and part of it is just this team's not efficient. Yeah. Some teams, they'll be on fire. Some weeks, they'll be absolutely on fire. They'll hit their shots. They won't miss. And other times, they just get from, like 3 from 18. And it's like, bruh, you need to get league. If this team could get league average for threes, that'd be in 5th.
Yeah, and I think that's part of D'Angelo's influence. Is probably not the best shot selection, a little streaky. So I think him being moved wouldn't be the worst, to be honest. So
I just don't know if you get anything valuable back, or
I mean, I think you get a decent enough guard to replace him. I think you won't be getting like a star because D'Angelo, don't forget, used to be an all-star level player.
Do they
You're not going to get an all-star back, but
do they need an all-star though?
I mean, you won't say no to one, but
But
that's
like
what I'm
you've
saying.
got,
You only need a decent enough
like you've got
facilitator
Cat.
and defender.
You've got Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
If you took D'Angelo away, Cat and Anthony can take more of the offensive possessions. You have a defensive all-star in Rudy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think they just need a good enough and mostly just reliable guard, really. So, yeah.
But the whole team needs to get more reliable.
Ooh, you know what I'd like to see? Halliburton traded for D'Angelo. Never would happen because Halliburton's value is a lot higher. But then it means that the Pacers can tank, like you said. They can just tank all the way down, and then D'Angelo can get as many buckets as he wants. Halliburton would be a great facilitator for the Wolves.
I saw a rumor that the Timberwolves thought about going after Murray from the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh, yeah.
But they let that one go.
And they end up going the Hawks.
He's sort of helping the Hawks. I guess.
Yeah, the Hawks have been a bit streaky as well.
They've always been streaky though. The problem is that Trey's so good on offense, but he really there's only so much you can hide him on defense. He's a bit like Steph, where Steph gets picked on a lot on defense, and it's because and that's the thing. Steph isn't short. If you put Steph next to me, he's taller than me.
Yeah, Steph's like 6'2", so
but
he's still
for
taller,
an NBA player, Steph and especially Trae Young are on the smaller side of things in the NBA, and yes, you can be skilled, but there's only so much Trae can do. He can hustle as much as he wants, but one, he doesn't because he's there to score. He's more primarily a scorer, but two, there's only so much you can make up before you're shorter than everyone else.
Yeah, I think definitely two-way players have the edge. He's an incredible scorer, but defensively a liability. And I think just his efficiency this season as well. He's dropped by about 6 points from three-point range. So.
To be fair, he's sharing with it's DeJounte Murray, right? Yeah. So he's sharing with DeJounte Murray, who I think's been playing quite well. But Trey's always gone up and down on efficiency.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, you'd expect him to get a bit more efficient because that's less scoring he has to do from the guard position when he's got another guard that can get buckets. But unfortunately, he's kind of dropped a little bit. Maybe it's changing the team plan. Could be affecting a little bit, perhaps, but adjustment period. But yeah, they're kind of borderline play-ins at the moment.
Which is weird because they've got a pretty they've only got Clint Capella out, which to be fair, Clint Capella is
kind of a bit of a centerpiece for the team.
Did a bit of important, but compared to other teams, they're doing quite well with people. So it'll be interesting to see if they can pull things back. Talking about teams that may or may not or should tank, what do you think about the Chicago Bulls?
Ooh, good question.
I think we haven't got a sound clip ready for this yet, but we will have one where we've got cursed or called it.
Yeah.
So we have an uncanny ability to curse people whenever we talk about them on this show. We call it the Opinions Curse.
Yeah.
Whenever we talk smack about someone, they'll do the opposite. If they're playing really bad and we mention it, they'll play really, really good. It's the curse of opinions. We curse everyone on a weekly basis. Sometimes we call it though.
Yeah.
And last week we were questioning, or was it last week or the week before?
Last week, I think, actually.
1 or 2 episodes ago, we were talking.
Before, yeah.
Well, we called an episode about it, and then I think we kept bringing it up. But we've been talking a lot about Zach LaVine and whether he is he just a good when they're bad, he just shines because he's an average player. He's still a good player.
Yeah.
But now that they've got a better team around him, he's just not looking good. And there's been a lot of rumors about issues with Zach and the rest of the roster. And then against the Wizards, which Clutch Kuz, by the way, we'll talk about him in just a moment. So tell me what happened, because I like your recaps. You're good at describing what happened. There was 10 seconds left on the clock. 5 seconds.
Bulls are down 3. Inbound play. LaVine gets the ball on the corner of the 3-point line. Has 2 defenders on him. To be fair, looks like he kind of gets fouled, but then dribbles in and takes a 2-pointer, and then you see Vucevic on the side wide open for 3 with his hands on his head. What are you doing? We're down 3 with 5 seconds left. Misses the shot. They lose the game.
Over.
Yeah. So, look, in his defense really quickly, it kind of seemed like he may have been fouled, so maybe he was trying to get the continuation to try and get an and one.
I heard that as well.
But he was the thing is he was driving through them past the 3-point line.
But even if he got a foul, So if he got a foul where he thought he got fouled, it wasn't at the 3-point line.
No,
It
but
still would have been 2 free throws, and he would
was
have
trying
the
to make the and one, I guess. But like that makes no sense. He should be taking the three as the main point.
I saw the replay, and I saw the commentators trying to cover for him by saying that they thought it looked like he might have got fouled.
But even they were like, "What are you doing, not taking the three?"
Yeah, and I'm gonna just go straight out. That was a bad call. I don't think that was a foul.
Yeah, it wasn't enough contact to be a foul, to be honest, because the player like went for it and then kind of like went back. I think it was Dylan Wright, and he was kind of like, "Oh, I didn't foul."
The contact was minimal.
Yeah,
he pulled back very quickly. It didn't affect the shot.
yeah,
He wasn't gathered until he was trying to do like a bad Harden play almost. Like he felt the contact, then like went into his step into the shot. But by then the foul, like if it was a foul, it hadn't actually affected the shot, in my opinion. The reason why it clanked was because he rushed it.
and at least even if you get fouled, at least try and go for the 3-point shot so you get the 3 free throws, right? Like don't push through and then try and take a mid. Anyway, it just made.
I
no
don't know
sense.
why he drove into two. Here's the thing, right? He pulled the double with 5 seconds to go, so he's got the ball. He's got a double. You still have time to throw it to someone to do a catch and shoot.
Yeah.
And obviously, look, I'll be the first to say, obviously, it's very easy for us in hindsight to go, this is what he should have done. We've got all the angles. We can, obviously, like,
That's true.
it's different. But the difference between a star and a superstar, right? Zach's been a star on a bad team for a long time.
Yeah.
And this was the point where we thought he'd become a superstar, right? He's finally got people that can help him out. He doesn't have to do everything himself. And he's getting, honestly, he's getting showed up by DeMar DeRozan.
Well, that's the thing. He led the team in scoring for like about 4 seasons straight. DeMar comes in and leads the team in scoring now. So I think the biggest thing for me is that, like you said, he kind of stood out as a superstar on a not great team. And then now that he's kind of got pieces around him, he's still not like leading the team. He's just one of the players there. But most importantly, he's still like got the mentality. Well, look, I might be judging a bit much, but he's still got like the mentality that I'm going to be the one to take the shot. We've seen DeMar. Look, to be fair, he's injured, so he wasn't in this game. But DeMar has hit some crazy clutch shots. But you've still got Vucevic like wide open. You've got Kobe White, who's not a bad guard. Like he needs to trust the team more, and he's trying to take crazy shots. So.
Just sounds like a him versus everyone else kind of thing, and it's not that way anymore. And
which
look,
kind of lines up with some of the locker room. Like
look, we are being a little harsh. Like, there's definitely times where, like, when you watch the game, he does pass other people. Yeah. But then there's also times where I feel like he does take a shot when he should have looked for that extra pass.
Yeah, a little ill-advised.
So it's so I guess we come back to we're being quite harsh on LaVine. I think he needs to be. There's still that step to go. I think he could be a superstar. He's got the potential.
For sure.
But he needs to now play better than ever before, and he's just not making good decisions.
Yeah, especially with the team missing players, like borderline not even in the play-ins. Like they need to step it up at this point because they've made a lot of moves in the last couple of seasons to get this to be a playoff
it's
team.
A great team.
Yeah.
It's a great team that kind of falls apart without having Lonzo Ball there.
Yeah, they're still missing Lonzo without DeMar. So they've got multiple injuries. But like this team, when they've got all their players, we saw how dominant they were up to third at one point last season.
Yeah.
Like they can be a great team. So
it's really sad because a clip came out of Lonzo the other day, which we just found, where he's running on a treadmill, but there's an obvious like limp. Yeah. So it's. And I was reading into the comments just to try and remember the background because this happened last year. It's been over a year.
It's been a long injury.
But it was a like I think it was a standard like ACL tear. It was surgery, 2 months. He should be back fine, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very concerning that something that should have been a routine 2-month sort of thing is taken over a year, and he's still not. Doesn't look he's anywhere close. Like with that sort of limp, he wouldn't go anywhere near a basketball
Sounds
court.
like there are definitely complications in there somehow. I know it's occasionally when you injure something, it can kind of heal incorrectly a little bit.
We had to redo the surgery.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah. So, obviously there's been...
Which is really sad, because we're big fans of the Bulls.
Yeah.
It's maybe not...
Bro, out of context, that quote is bad, my guy.
We're not fans of LaVar. He's entertaining. But LaMelo and Lonzo are very talented bowlers. Is that better?
Yeah,
that's okay. We'll clip it. I like balls, guys. I like the balls. But
Oh man.
it's just really sad that, especially with how much like rubbish he had to deal with in LA. I was so excited when Lonzo went to the Pelicans and then went to Chicago. It's just a real shame.
Yeah.
So the number one question, we can make this a hot sauce of the day. Play the song. Boop, 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 boop. Do the Bulls blow it up? Yes or no?
Yes, according to your logic, kind of like we're talking about with the Pacers, they showed sparks of potential. I don't think it's quite enough, considering how competitive the East is now. The Cavs have risen up. The Nets are now back in form. I think they blow it up. Otherwise, they're kind of in the middle. I think maybe give it at least a season, maybe, to see how it goes. Like,
Okay.
maybe not right now, but...
Okay, well, let's change the question. Do you blow it up right now?
Uh,
Which apparently they've been very close to doing, and then they get a silly win against like a silly
Yeah.
team, and then they keep
Gosh,
thinking.
that is such a hard question because it seems almost like too soon. Like, give it a bit more time. I think later down the end of the season, at this point, I would say yes, they should have, because I think by the end they're not going to be much better. So
I will say no,
okay,
but I have one caveat.
yep,
The only caveat I have is obviously they have a much better idea of, and this all hinges on Lonzo.
yeah,
Lonzo is the missing piece on this team. They need him and Caruso's defense are the only way that you can defend enough to then let your inefficient defenders like LaVine and DeMar go off, right?
yep,
So this is only feasible in my mind because then if you have Lonzo Ball starting or coming off the bench and you've got Caruso either opposite to that, and then you can basically opposite Caruso and Lonzo together. So that
Yep.
you've got more, and then if you need to do the two guards of doom, you've got the two guards of doom to lock someone down. So I would say, and only the Bulls know this answer, they know how bad Lonzo is in
Yeah.
its entirety. They know exactly what's going on with him. We are getting drip fed what's going on, and look, it doesn't look good, I will say, but we don't, at the end of the day, we don't know what's going on.
yeah,
It's been a pretty closely guarded secret. The Bulls have really held that card tight to their chest. We really don't know what's going with Lonzo.
yeah,
If Lonzo has a 6 to 12 month time return, this end of this season or beginning of next season,
yep,
which I know it's not a helpful answer. So if he's got a 6 to 12 month window of making it back 100%, I think you try to hold on.
yeah. I'd agree with that. If you know there's a chance of him coming back and contributing at least close to what he used to, then sure.
Because I honestly do think that if he's there, healthy, doing what he was doing before, this team is miles better.
Yeah, I mean, much improved 3-point shooter. Honestly, was one of the best efficiency when he was healthy. Defensively, great. Yeah, I think Lonzo definitely contribute.
Great pass first point guard, which is
Yep.
what they need. Him and
Definitely.
Caruso, the Caruso, would be fantastic. But
Yep.
he's the glue. If he's not back anytime soon, I think you just cut your losses. You blow it up. Especially like people like Caruso would get a pretty nice little package behind him.
Yeah,
Because Caruso, and we love Caruso here. We don't get to see him as much now that he's not in the Lakers because big market, he shows up
Yeah.
more. But Caruso is the perfect player because he hasn't got a big head, he hasn't got a big ego. He'll always do exactly what he'll come off the bench, he'll start, he'll do whatever you want, and he'll always do his job. You tell him what
Yeah.
exactly you want him to do, he's not gonna get greedy or fight with, like, he'll do his job, and that's how he got into the league, and that's how he's gonna stay in the league. If the Bulls blow it up and everyone's available, I think Caruso would be one of the more sought after people because he's only on a 3-year, $30 million, something like that.
around about that, I think. Yeah,
It's very, very achievable to move a couple of people and get him in
yeah,
and instantly make your team better.
exactly.
Instantly.
Every team needs role players. So, speaking of role players, should we
Good.
quickly talk about Jay Crowder?
Jay Crowder, J Dog. Yes.
Boy,
Tell those ladies to stop calling you Ben.
it's not at all.
Honestly, the whole Jay Crowder situation has really, really baffled me.
Yeah, and I almost forgot about it because he's just not been playing, and then news starts to come out, and you're like, oh, that's right, I totally forgot.
It's just interesting that he's not playing, and the Suns are struggling. right now. They have
Yep.
so many injuries.
So yeah, Booker's out at least for multiple more weeks. Chris Paul's out.
He's been out for
DeAndre
8.
Ayton's day to day.
No.
Cameron Payne. They've got pretty much all of their players.
Crowder stopped playing at the beginning of the season because they weren't going to start him. That's the official rumor, right? And Jay has since come out and said, apparently not Jay, but apparently a rumor's come out that his Phoenix teammates support him for sitting out. Apparently, because like Jay's confused that the coaches don't value him or something.
I think they're saying that they like miss him and they want him back as well. Trying to say that he's valuable to the team. But the irony is that he's sitting out because he wasn't starting. With all the injuries they have, he probably could be starting by now. He would have
started like, honestly, you would have played like 1 or 2 weeks coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And then everyone would have got hurt and you would have been starting again. And I don't understand. Now you're kind of just this question mark because we don't know if you're fit. We don't know how well you're actually playing right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing to run off.
Because apparently he's still grinding and still staying fit. But yeah, I mean, look, he's had some off moments on the Suns, but generally he's a good piece on a lot of playoff teams.
He's been on a lot of teams. There's a reason why.
Exactly.
He's good at what he does.
And the Suns now are sitting in 10th, like kind of borderline even play-ins. And this is a team that made the finals but a few years ago. I feel like they really need these role players like Crowder to be there to kind of keep them going.
They just can't get a trade going. Well,
yeah.
It's just... For me, I don't know. Maybe the team is being nice about it. Like, I think I'd be pretty frustrated. No matter what the reason was, at the end of the day, Crowder has made things bad to the point that either the organization has said stay home or he's said I'm staying home. Or it's a mixture of both. And that's not a great situation. And it's putting... he's putting himself before the team.
Yeah. Which is
I get it. He's on his contract year. He's trying to get a better contract. Like, obviously, coming off the bench versus starting would change some of his stats a little bit. And that is, for someone like him, that does go into his contract negotiations on what he's averaging. But just look at the way, like, he's going from a contender to not even, like, these guys may not even make the play-ins.
Yeah. In fact, on that note, I might even make a prediction for the board. And it might come with a little juicy thing.
Okay.
I don't know how hard I go with this. So honestly, like, look, when they get their players back, when they get obviously Booker, CP3, Ayton, like consistently back, I mean that's their best players. So obviously they're not going to do well without him. But I don't know. I feel like this team peaked when they made the finals.
I think so too.
I was so high on the Suns like last season because I loved how they had so many options, depth. They were moving the ball, but I don't know what it is. Just this season, it's not the same team.
They ran it back, and it's not the team that they've kept everything the same. I don't think they've lost anyone.
Yeah.
If anything, they've added pieces. I think they made a good couple of moves.
Yeah,
and this team doesn't look the same at all.
And just the Ayton drama with not even talking to the coach of the season. I don't know what it is, but I'm willing to say that they make the playoffs, but they're first round exit. I'm locking in first round exit, which sounds like a bit of a cop out. But look, I think even if they make play-ins, they're likely to maybe make playoffs. But yeah, I'm going to say first round exit. I can't see this team performing the same way it did. And if I'm wrong, because it's the Suns, which are hot, I'll do super hot sauce. I've already got the cinnamon challenge lined up, but I'm going to do the hot ones, Apollo, like the hottest out of all of them.
Oh my goodness.
I will do that.
Okay.
So I'm going to regret this immediately.
No, let's see. Okay, so just to clarify, you're going to bet that the Phoenix Suns will be a first round exit.
I shouldn't have said first round exit. I should have said later. But no, I will say first round exit.
No, honestly,
I'm going to say it because I'm going to say that if they do make playoffs, they'll be like...
they don't even make the play-ins.
I'm going to say if they make playoffs, it'll be like 7th or 8th seed or even 6th. And the way that these top teams are performing, like Nuggets, Grizzlies, even Mavs can get hot in the playoffs if Luka goes wild. I don't know. I reckon it can happen. So
yeah, no, I think that's fair. To finish out, that's a big call. We'll have to add that to the board. I really like that. Just to finish out, let's start on finish out with a good thing. The Hornets the other week, they were playing the Bucks. The Hornets having an absolute shock over season. I don't even know. Like, isn't it? It's just typical Hornets. Like, they play a little bit good one year, and then the next year they're back to being terrible. Yeah. But in a weird win against the Bucks, they did tie the league record, the NBA record for most points in one quarter, which is 51. They just absolutely lit off. And it just really sucks that, like, for some reason they suck the rest of the time, because this team is a lot of fun when they're going well. Yeah. LaMelo is a stud.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the team as a whole is not sitting bottom of the East. But, I mean, yeah, LaMelo, obviously one of the bigger talents we've seen in the last few years.
They can get another top 5 pick, I think would really turn this team around, and / or a top 10. But they're going the right way about it. I think, especially with the whole Mikal Bridges issue.
Who was actually the leading scorer last season, had a breakout season as well, and now they've lost him. So I think just tank.
There's rumors that he's close to coming back. They've sort of waited for all the issues to die down a bit more, and he's still technically on the, like, I think they've technically got his bird rights.
Right, okay.
Still. So if he was to come back, they have the first pick, which I think maybe just tank this season. Wait for it's unfortunate, but he will be back. It's the NBA. Money speaks. He's going to get away with it. But sounds like he's not completely. It's a bit of both. We've gone over it. It's an unfortunate situation.
Yep.
But if they get a top 5 pick with Mikal Bridges and LaMelo, and then I think you should trade Scary Terry. Personally,
Yeah,
he's getting a little bit old. While he's still got some value, move him, get something back.
He can just help him run the tank machine for now, and then get better picks. And I think that's probably the best call. Get a really solid player to pair with LaMelo, run the team, and just get pieces from there.
Just get a better center, please.
Yeah, I think that's been a big problem there.
But you're a bench at best. So thanks for listening to episode 38, Clutching Threes and Clutching Knees. Make some noise if you think that the NBA should do more to protect their players from injury, because we think they should, because it really sucks when you see teams that should be playing better, but they're not because of injuries. And I think that injuries could be reduced.
100%.
So like, subscribe, shout out to my girlfriend and my girlfriend's mum, who have been listening. They listen to the podcast and they've been putting 5 stars on it.
Hey, let's go.
So make sure you like and put 5 stars down, because it helps us a lot. We're really pushing hard this year to try and get the opinions out there a bit more. So check out all our socials, and we out of here.
See ya.